So hi everyone, I hope you have seen the current affairs of the month of October. Now I'll be doing the month of September now. So in the October month, the video has been 4 hours long and have included mapping section, science and technology, environment, geography, disaster management. So it has become quite a lengthy video. And for this generation, the Insta generation where you scroll a lot of reels, so it might not be catching your attention. That's why here I'll be including only the mapping session. So one thing I will guarantee you, the kind of analysis you'll be having here, the kind of exhaustive study we'll be doing here, nowhere you'll be having. So even if you're doing the current affairs from the month of September till the month of April 2026, you'll be able to answer all the questions. So let's dive into the video now. So the first news is, so the month of September, the Shanghai Cooperation Agreement has happened. Now, what all questions can be asked in the examination? The firstly, they'll be asking who are all the members of the SCO. See, regarding the members, I'll tell you a trick how to remember this. So, if you want to remember the members, of course, Russia have to remember, China. Okay, Russia and China are the pioneers. Okay, they want to counter the US hegemony here. So, that's why they'll be the members here. And among the Central Asian republics, all the stans are there except the Turkmenistan. So the Turkmenistan will not be there because the Turkmenistan maintains a neutrality. And moreover, the Turkmenistan is ruled by a dictator for a very long time. That's why he doesn't want to get into any power tussle here and there. That's why exclude Turkmenistan, okay, from all the stans here. You can simply remember Turk, okay, in all these stans, okay, because the Central Asian republics are said to be all Muslims. Turk is not there, okay, so you can remember this way. And India and Pakistan also have been included as members, okay, both have been given the membership at the same time. You can see here, so India and Pakistan have been given the membership at the same time. So why they have been given the membership at the same time? Because this organization is spearheaded by China. And China wants to hyphenate India and Pakistan everywhere. So in India, we should not be doing activities or we should not be giving slogans here and there where India is hyphenated with Pakistan. So this will give a very bad impression to the world. And recently, Belarus also has been given the membership. So Iran is also there. So which is not there in the map because I did not get the map here because I cannot create a map myself. And Belarus. And Belarus is a very good friend of Russia. Even Belarus has been ruled by a dictator for a very long time. And Iran also has been given the membership. So remember this table, especially these. Okay? And among the stans, the Turkmenistan is not there. Okay? So this is how you can remember the members of the SCO. And what is the role of SCO? What does it do, etc. All the Gospels of the Bible is there. You can go through it. Okay. Anyways, in prelims, these kind of questions will not be asked. And if at all they are asking, okay, what is the role of SEO? You can mark all the above. So any statement which is sounding good, you can mark in the examination. Anyways, if you want to go through, you can go through these. Okay. I hope it is visible to you in your mobile as well. And most importantly, when it comes to SEO, the India has joined because though it is an organization which has been headed by China, the India wants to be a member of this. Because there's a saying, right? Okay, दुश्मन को सबसे करीब रखो, चाहे दोस्त को दूर रखो. So we have to wait, we have to watch, okay, what exactly China is doing. Okay. So next one which is in the news is India Navy's first training squadron visited Seychelles for cadet training and maritime diplomacy. Now in the Indian Ocean region, the Seychelles become very important. So not only Seychelles here, you have Seychelles, Maldives, Mauritius, Reunion Island, Comoros Island. So all these, okay, including Madagascar. So these are all very important for Indian Ocean region initiatives because this is the Indian Ocean. So whatever countries are there in Indian Ocean become very important for India. That's why the India tries to reach out to these countries. Or else the China will be having influence here. The China already has its Stings of Pearl policy. Means the China has the deep sea ports all over the Indian Ocean, so that in case of any attack, okay, China will be able to attack India very easily, and it has all the deep sea ports and all the infrastructure, which we will not be discussing now. Okay, the Seychelles becomes very important. So when it comes to Seychelles, one island is very important called as Assumption Island. So Assumption Island is located here in Seychelles, and Assumption Island has airstrip. So this is the Indian Ocean region. You can see Seychelles here, Seychelles, and in Seychelles you have this Assumption Island. The Assumption Island is located here. So if you zoom, you'll see a small airstrip over here. And this airstrip belongs to India. I don't know, okay, it hasn't been completely prepared, I guess. Okay, there are no domes, nothing. The infrastructure also looks very bad over here. And for your reference, I'll show you how an airstrip should look like. Anyways, going through the Assumption Island, you also have one island called as Aldabra Island. So Aldabra Island is very famous for the turtles. You have very large turtles over here. And how an airstrip should be airstrip. And I'll show you how the airstrip should look like, or an air base should be looking like. So you have this Diego Garcia, this British island territory, you see here. And for comparison, I'm showing you. So this is how an air base or airstrip should look like. So you have the planes over here. So you have all the infrastructure over here. So this is how an airstrip or air base should look like. And this belongs to Britain, but it has been leased by USA. So next country which is in the news is Mozambique. So Mozambique is also in the news because of the increasing India's ties with Mozambique. Now why Mozambique is very important? Again, it is very important for the Indian Ocean region. Okay, you can see the Mozambique channel over here. This is the Mozambique country, and it acts as a very important choke point. Okay, if you want to secure your cargo, or if you want to send your ships over here, then you should be having your security forces in Mozambique. And India also has a lot of interest in the Rovuma Basin. So India has made investments, that is ONGC Videsh Limited, OVL, has made investments in Rovuma Basin. So remember the Rovuma Basin, it can be asked in the examination. So remember this, you have the Rovuma River, it can be asked in the examination, because previously in the UPSC examination they have asked, okay, they are given two rivers, Limpopo River, Orange River, and they have asked in which ocean they are flowing. So since it is important for India, remember this. And you have a country over here which has resources. For example, Venezuela has resources, so Venezuela needs democracy. So there should be some internal disturbance. So that's why this region called as Cabo Delgado. So this is in the northern side of Madagascar. It has got a ISIS branch called as ISIP Mozambique, also called as Al-Shabaab. So remember this Cabo Delgado, which is in the northern side of Madagascar. So next one which is in the news is the Scarborough Shoal, because China wants to establish a nature reserve in the Scarborough Shoal. Now if you look at the Scarborough Shoal has been artificially created, because the China has been eyeing on this South China Sea. Now if you want to claim this entire South China Sea, then the islands which are there in South China Sea has to be yours. So China has already laid its territorial claims on Paracel Islands here, you can see, Spratly Islands, and it has created, now on this side there is no island over here. That's why the China has artificially created an island called as the Scarborough Shoal. I guess this one, yeah. So this is the Scarborough Shoal. So this has been artificially created by China. So this is on the side of the Philippines. So the Scarborough Shoal, this is Spratly Islands and Paracel Islands. If they belong to China, entire South China Sea belongs to China. And more about this South China Sea, what is the interest of India over here, I have discussed in the October current affairs mapping part. The Tira Valley in Pakistan. The Tira Valley is located in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. It is one of the states of the Pakistan. So why any country would want to bomb its own territory. So the reason lies here. Now if you look at the distribution, ethnic distribution, now this is a southern, this is Afghanistan. The southern part of the Afghanistan here has lot of Pashtuns. And these Pashtuns are spreading into Pakistan as well. So there are some Pashtuns are there in Balochistan, and some Pashtuns are then Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province also. Now these Pashtuns are a single ethnic community and they have the relatives here and there, यहाँ पे शादी होती है, वहाँ पे शादी होती है, तो आपस में they go to and fro. Now after the Taliban has taken over in 2021, the Pakistani army started building a fence over here. अभी इनको पसंद आएगा क्या पश्तून को? Okay, बीच में अगर border लगा दिया तो, so that's why Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, a terrorist group, has become very prominent and which is indirectly supported by the ruling establishment in Afghanistan. So that's why, okay, they now and then they attack the army. So since their activities have become very rampant in this part, the Pakistan has to bomb in the Tira Valley. So that's why it is prominent. So next is the Kamchatka Peninsula. Now if you open the map here in the Pacific Ocean, so this is the Kamchatka Peninsula, and this entire Pacific Ocean has been undergoing subduction. This is also called as the Ring of Fire. So since the Pacific Ocean is undergoing subduction, all around the Pacific Ocean you have volcanoes, and these volcanoes are very active, and this is also called as the Ring of Fire. That's why the Japan, okay, has a lot of earthquakes. Similarly, the Kamchatka Peninsula, since the subduction is very active over here, so there also recently we have witnessed the earthquakes, and also volcanism is very prominent over here. And the volcanoes here in Kamchatka Peninsula are associated with a lot of ash, because whenever you have a subduction zone there, since it is associated with high amount of the water, of course lava will also come, a large amount of ash will also come there. So next one which is in the news, okay, I'll be taking three news together here. Now here, Russian military plane has entered neutral airspace over Baltic Sea. So this is the Baltic Sea. So this is where Russia is, and Russian plane has entered into Baltic. And because of which the German Eurofighters have entered into the Baltic, because they are enemies. Now this is one news. The second news is India-Denmark Green Strategic Partnership. Now Denmark is very much known for the wind energy, the tidal energy, so it is into a lot of green energy. So India and Denmark have entered into Green Strategic Partnership. And the third one which is in the news is Estonia sought NATO consultations. And Estonia is one of the Baltic states over here. You can see Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Okay, so Estonia, again it is entering into negotiations with the NATO, and it is because of the Russia's angle. Now with respect to this, okay, I'll be doing all the mapping locations over here. So for this I will open the map. Now you see here, you have Russia on this side. This is St. Petersburg, so one of the important cities of Russia. And UPSC can ask a question, which of the in which of the gulfs or bay the St. Petersburg is located? Gulf of Finland, remember this. So through Gulf of Finland, the Russia has an entry into the Baltic. So remember this. Gulf of Riga, you can remember or you can ignore, it is not that important. And this is called as Gulf of Bothnia. So Gulf of Bothnia is between Sweden and Finland, and recently in the year 23 and 24, the Finland and Sweden have got the membership of NATO. Earlier the Finland was not part of NATO. Now the bordering state with Russia, on this side you have Russia, Finland is the bordering state. The Finland has been given the membership of NATO, that's why it is very prominent. It has been given in the year of 2023, and Sweden also has been given, and Norway is the part of NATO from a very long period of time. And in this context, they can ask, now if Russia wants to go out into Atlantic, okay, and attack Europe, now in this context, they can ask, what is the route over here, okay? So the Russia from Gulf of Finland will be entering into the Baltic Sea. And from the Baltic, if it wants to go into the North Sea and Atlantic, okay, here Denmark comes. And near Denmark, okay, you have Kattegat and Skagerrak. You can see in the map over here, Kattegat and Skagerrak. So these two you remember, because from the Baltic Sea into the North Sea and Atlantic, Kattegat and Skagerrak will come into the picture. Okay, these are the small water bodies over here. And if you want to go from the Baltic into the Atlantic or the North Sea, now this is the usual route. Okay, from the Baltic you have to go to Kattegat, Skagerrak and into the Atlantic. But there is a shortcut over here. There is a canal over here. You see a city called as Kiel here. The Kiel is in Germany and there is a Kiel canal. So the Kiel canal becomes very important here. So with respect to all these three news, what all you have to remember is Gulf of Mothria, Gulf of Finland, St. Petersburg, which is in Russia, and here there is a Russian province. Above Poland you see. So things which I have mentioned earlier are there in the map here. You can go through here. Then earlier, before this Russia-Ukraine war, the Russia used to supply oil and gas to most of the Europe. This is called as the Nord Stream pipeline. There are two pipelines over here, Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. And this Nord Stream pipeline comes from this Gulf of Finland and it goes into Germany. So now the pipeline has been blocked or stopped. In fact, the pipeline explosion also took place. I don't know who has exploded it, but somehow the pipeline has been exploded. Then later on, the Europe started importing oil from elsewhere. So next, okay, we have discussed this, Kattegat, Skagerrak, you remember. And now they can ask, since NATO is in the news now, so which all countries are part of NATO, which are countries are not part of NATO. Now most of the Europe is part of NATO. Now let's remember which countries are not part of NATO. Now Switzerland is a country which maintains neutrality. See, neutrality, neutrality, neutrality and neutrality. Sorry, see, neutrality here. So these four countries over here. So Austria, Switzerland, Ireland, Malta. So these four countries maintain neutrality. So this is Ireland, this is Switzerland, this is Austria and this is Malta. And the other countries which will never be part of the NATO. Serbia will be never part of NATO because the Serbia has ethnic Slavs, which is Russian ethnic population. Russia supports Serbia a lot. Of course, Russia will never be part of. And I told you, Belarus. The Belarus has been ruled by a dictator from very long time. If it doesn't have Russia's support, it is gone. So that's why the Belarus will be always part of the CSTO or it will be an ally of Russia. Next, Ukraine. Yes, sir, Russia-Ukraine war start hua tha because Ukraine wanted to be part of NATO. That has angered Russia. So Ukraine is an aspiring member. Next, you have Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's also aspiring. You have Cyprus over here. The Cyprus is an island in Mediterranean. Now, the Cyprus is divided into two. The northern part of the Cyprus is controlled by Turkey and southern part, okay, is independent, okay, it is Greek control. So that's why the Cyprus will not be part of. This Moldova is located within this Ukraine and the people have issues over here because of ethnic differences. That's why it will not be part of. And Georgia is bordering Russia and Georgia is also not part of, and Georgia wants to be part of the NATO because it has got various autonomous provinces. Means there are many territories in Georgia which wants to be independent, such as your Abkhazia, South Ossetia, etc. So this is about the NATO's membership. Next, India-Morocco defense cooperation, and Morocco shows interest in Akash NG. So Akash next generation is a SAM, surface to air. So if you have a missile which is coming towards you, if a missile wants to attack you, you have to fire a counter missile, that is called as SAM, surface to air missile. So that's why Morocco has shown a lot of interest in Akash NG. आपने S-400 सुना होगा, okay? So this also belongs to S-400 category, but Akash NG is indigenously built in India. Now why, okay, India-Morocco cooperation is very important? Because of rock phosphate deposits. Now if you see the percentage of the world deposits in terms of rock phosphate, the Morocco has almost 70% of rock phosphate, and NPK is very important for agriculture. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. And India is lacking in almost all these three. And agriculture is the backbone of India, and fertilizers are very important for India. And since most of the fertilizers, especially P and K, are imported, so nitrogen based fertilizers are produced indigenously, but again it is indirectly dependent upon the petrochemicals. Means बाहर से अपन petroleum import करते हैं, वहाँ से जो natural gas निकलता है, okay, and from that natural gas we produce nitrogen. So indirectly it is also import dependent, though we produce domestically, and most of the P and K we import, and that is where the Morocco will be playing a very important role. So next country which is in the news is the Albania. Now Albania wants to become the part of EU, and it may join EU by 2030. But EU में join होने के लिए कुछ standards होते हैं. So उस country में law and order सही होना चाहिए, उस country में corruption नहीं होना चाहिए, so उस country में justice ढंग से होना चाहिए. So all these are required, and maybe because of that Albania has introduced a AI related app called as Dela. So what the Dela will be doing, it will be monitoring public procurement to minimize the corruption, because whenever the government will be procuring anything, so there will be a lot of corruption. For example, a government department, it requires some boats at the time of disaster, or it requires umbrellas. So in India, okay, there was a case study which was done. So the Indian government, okay, it has rented umbrella 1,000 rupees per day. Now how it can be possible? If you are buying umbrellas on wholesale, you'll be getting 100 rupees per umbrella. So 100 rupees you can buy. So recently also, okay, in Bangalore, the truck, okay, which is used for cleaning the roads, will be costing around 40 lakh. But the government has been paying hefty money for renting these vehicles. So therefore a lot of corruption happens in the government procurements. So that's why this has been introduced. And also in Albania there have been severe floods. So that's why, okay, Albania is in the news. And the Albania is one of the countries which is bordering the Adriatic Sea. And UPSC has once asked which of the following countries, okay, has a border, okay, has a coast with Adriatic. So this I'll be discussing in the November current affairs, okay, look there. Next you have the earthquake in Peru. So Peru is also very much prone to the earthquakes because the Peru has a subduction zone. So if you look in the map here, so this is Peru. So it is located on ring of fire, and this is the Pacific Ocean. You can see a trench over here. So this is where Peru is. So trench is there. So this Pacific Ocean is undergoing subduction. The Pacific Ocean is going and subducting into the mantle. So because of which it is very much prone to the earthquakes and also volcanism. So that's why it is important. Now what is the importance of Peru here? So look at the importance. See, you have to remember Peru with respect to the mineral deposits. So you can remember these two, rest you can ignore. So in terms of copper, it is second. So after Chile, it has second place in the world, and copper is very important for your electronics. So in the electronics, you'll be using a lot of copper wire. And next, it is also important for silver. So it is a top holder of silver. It has around 20% of world's silver deposits, and bullion has become very important because when the world economy crashes, okay, the governments and people, okay, they start investing in gold and silver. So that is where silver becomes important. So remember these two, you can ignore the rest. Remember copper and silver, rest you can ignore. Anyways, it does not have much percentage over here. Next, the Peru is also very important for an animal called as alpaca. You can see Machu Picchu. So Machu Picchu is located in Peru, and this is alpaca. And alpaca and llama, they look very similar, but both are different. So alpaca looks like a mixture between a camel and a sheep. Okay. Next, you have these rainbow mountains. So these mountains are also located in the Peru's southern part. Now, how these mountains have been created? So once upon a time, okay, these layers were located in the sea, and later on they have been uplifted and they have been folded. So that's why you have such kind of fold mountains which are layers. Now, what these various colors signify over here? See, you see the red color over here? The red color indicates a lot of iron. Means when, okay, this rock, when it was located under the water, during that time, maybe the oxidation of iron was very prominent. So iron was converted into iron oxide during that time, and those deposits are falling in the ocean. So the sediments were deposited in the ocean floor. That's why it is very rich in iron. Say, in the geological time scale, means sometime in the past, okay, there was very heavy volcanic activity, a lot of sulfur dioxide is being released, and if that sulfur ash, if it is deposited in the ocean floor, then you will be having a layer which is made up of sulfur. So these various colors signify various minerals. If it is green in color, it signifies chlorite. If it is pink or purple in color, it signifies manganese. So rainbow mountains you can remember. And next one which is in the news is La Orchila. So now, okay, the USA has already attacked Venezuela, but these skirmishes were taking place from very long time. So the USA, the ships of USA has been wandering in this water for a very long time, and in retaliation, the Venezuelan, okay, troops also have landed in an island called as La Orchila. So since Venezuela is in the news, okay, you have to remember this island, La Orchila. Now, Barren Island. The Barren Island is located in India in Andaman Nicobar, and in the month of September, it had a huge explosion, and it had a volcanic activity. So that's why you have to remember this volcanic this Barren Island, and Barren Island is the only active volcano of India. So next you have this rail line, and this rail line has connected Mizoram's capital Aizawl, and this has become the fourth railway line, okay, which is connecting the various capital such as Assam Dispur, Agartala, Itanagar. So that's why you have to remember this, okay, Bairabi Sairang railway line. So next you have this Madai Wildlife Sanctuary. So Madai Wildlife Sanctuary is located in the state of Goa. So it is on the eastern side. So anyways, you are looking at Madai, you can also look at it Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay, it's also located on the western side. So it is located in the Western Ghats, and it has been in controversy because of the Supreme Court intervention over here. So that's why it's in the news. And biodiversity wise, it is very rich. So it has got tigers, leopards, gaurs, sloth bears, lot of bird species. So the bird species which you have to remember is Malabar, grey hornbill, rufous, blabber, okay, and also remember this butterfly called as southern birdwing. So remember this, remember these two birds and this butterfly. Now why the Supreme Court had to intervene? Because you have this Madai river. The Madai river in Goa is also called as Mandovi River. And the two important rivers of Goa are Mandovi River and Zuari River. These two are the important rivers of Goa. Now this Madevi River also has tributaries. Now the Karnataka also, see, any state in India, okay, has scarcity of water. It wants water. The water which is flowing into Goa, okay, is hijacked or diverted into Karnataka by building two dams. The two dams become very important here. So you have the Dom Kalasa Dam and one more dam called as Bandura Dam. So Bandura and Kalasa. So these two dams are built in the river basin of Mandovi, means the water which is supposed to flow in Goa is being diverted and hijacked into Karnataka. So this is the reason why the Supreme Court has to intervene, okay, between the ongoing conflict. So more about this conflict, okay, we'll be looking in your polity classes. So as far as mapping is concerned, okay, we have seen this. So other things, okay, don't have to remember, only remember this, which has been written over here. Next, leopard killed a cheetah. So you know this Kuno Palpur National Park, where the cheetahs have been reintroduced in India. So once upon a time, the cheetahs were active in India, but cheetahs in India have gone extinct. The Asian cheetah has gone extinct. That's why we have to import the cheetahs from Africa. From which three countries India has imported here? Namibia, South Africa, and recently from Botswana also, we have introduced these cheetahs in India. Now, why these cheetahs are dying? Why the leopard has to kill cheetah? Now you see, if you look at cheetahs in Africa, the cheetahs, you must have heard that, cheetah सबसे, fast भागता है. Why? Because the Africa has a lot of grassland. So grass में भाग सकता है. अगर बीच में पेड़ आ गया, वो कैसे भागेगा fast? So in Africa, you have a lot of grasslands. In India, there is not much of grassland. In India, we have introduced these cheetahs in the dry deciduous forest. Obviously, terrain different हो गया. And there the temperature humidity conditions are different, and in India the temperature and humidity conditions are different. And India has comparatively high humidity, especially in the monsoon seasons. And to track these cheetahs, we have put these collars, radio collars. means cheetah कहाँ घूम रहा है वो पता करने के लिए collar लगाया. अब देखो यहाँ पे पिक्चर में ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है कि उसको फांसी पे चढ़ा दिया. And with moisture, with these collars, अभी चीता बारिश होगा, चीता पानी पीने जाएगा, एक चीता दूसरे चीता से खेलेगा. So अंदर जब moisture जाएगा, okay, and high humidity है, so it will be prone to lot of infestation. So वहाँ पे बहुत allergies होती है. Okay, this is one of the reasons. And in the dry deciduous forest, the leopard is the king. And उसी जंगल में आप चीता को छोड़ दिया. And जब आप चीता को और लेपर्ड को दोनों की लड़ाई करवाते हो, this is also called as niche, means who will be the king there. Obviously the cheetah will win. Sorry, obviously the leopard will win because leopard is comparatively more muscular than cheetah. Therefore, you will see the news over here, the leopard killed a cheetah. And what are the various other reasons over here? See, the reasons have been mentioned, you can go through over here. So the major reason is we have to understand what is the ecological niche of cheetah. वो कौन सा temperature पे रहता है, कौन सा type of surface चाहिए उसके लिए, and when it mates, whether it requires silence or privacy or not, and habitations means लोग कितना दूर होना चाहिए, and how much territory an adult cheetah requires, okay, and when the new cubs are born, they will also be looking for territory, and how much area of expansion or buffer we have to provide. So all these reasons have to be taken into account before any reintroduction program. That's why many of the cheetahs which have been introduced in India, okay, they have around 11 to 15 have died, which have been introduced in India. So that's why we need to relook into this policy. Next, the floods, okay, there have been floods in Ranjit Sagar Dam. So this Ranjit Sagar Dam is on the river Ravi. So the Ravi river also acts as a border between Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. And don't get confused between this Ranjit Sagar Dam and Pong Dam. So the Pong Dam is located on Bias River. So the Bias, okay, this Pong Dam is in the state of Himachal Pradesh and almost on Punjab border. So next one which is in the news is the Himalayan Super Dam. Now here the China is building a super dam called as Medok Dam. So China has been already building a lot of dams on Yarlung Zangpo River. So here the China has been building numerous dams. Now you see, so this is the border of India. And this is the U-turn which the Brahmaputra river or Yarlung Zangpo is taking. So as soon as this river Yarlung Zangpo it enters India, it's called as the Siang river, and later it becomes the Brahmaputra river. So the place where it is taking a turn right above the border, the China is building a dam called as Medok Dam. And the capacity is 60 gigawatt, means 60,000 megawatt. So can you guess the capacity of all the dams in India combined? Installed capacity of all the dams in India. So the installed capacity of all the dams in India is around 40,000 gigawatt. Now see. Now Chinese one dam has 15,000 megawatts more capacity than all the dams in India combined. So if it is building a dam over here, the water can be diverted, the water can be stored, and at the time of war, what if China is releasing the water all of a sudden? So entire Brahmaputra plains will be flooded. So it can also be used as a tool of terrorism against India. So that's why we need to be careful. Now, what India is doing? India is building the dam called as Hio and Tato. So the Hio has a capacity of 240 megawatt and Tato has capacity of 180 megawatt. And what you have to remember here is, remember these two dams, and India is building a dam on this Siom river. So remember this Siom. The Siom river is a right bank tributary of Brahmaputra. The US is in talks with Afghanistan to regain control of Bagram Air Base. So Bagram Air Base is very important. So this is the location of Bagram Air Base, which is in Kabul. Because in 2021, the USA has vacated. But now USA feels that having a hold in this region is very important. Again, for that, it is again making a lot of negotiations. And a lot of important locations regarding this Afghanistan are discussed in the month of October current affairs. Please go and look in the October current affairs. I have discussed all the strategic locations in Afghanistan. Next. So one more item which is in the news is Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger recently withdrew from ICC, International Criminal Court. Now why they have withdrawn? Because see, all these countries which are in the Sahel, this is also called as the Sahel region. This is the Sahel region. So all the countries in line in the Sahel, okay, have undergone military coup. Now why it has undergone military coup, I'll discuss later. Now why they have withdrawn? Because when you will be having military leader, of course, there will be a lot of atrocities committed against the citizens, because there will be a minority, majority. This minority versus majority or clash between the ethnic groups will make these military leaders commit a lot of genocides. So that's why they have withdrew from the ICC, because if you are part of ICC and if you are committing such kind of genocides, you will be tried, okay, you will be judged, means there will be criminal court and you have to go into the court. So that's why they have withdrawn. And these are the recent coups, okay. So all the countries in the Sahel region have undergone coups, and Guinea-Bissau, the recent one, and Madagascar also. These two are the recent countries which have undergone military coups from Africa. So I hope you have liked the mapping section. So I have discussed, okay, everything in detail and I have bet around the bush. So not only the thing which is in the news will be asked, but also the UPSC will be asking the second and third layer. So जो चीज़ न्यूज़ में ही है नहीं न्यूज़ में है सिर्फ वही चीज़ नहीं बाकी चीज़ों को भी आपको देखना चाहिए एंड वही चीज़ें यूपीएससी में पूछेगा ओके एंड after few days I'll be releasing the environment section of September also. Okay, take care, bye.